You know the map I'm talking about. It was on your classroom wall, it's in a million textbooks. For most of us, when we picture a map of the world, that's the one we see. But that map, the famous Mercator projection, tells a story about our planet that's, well, it's kind of misleading. So today, we're going to dig into the story of the man behind it, Gerardus Mercator, and find out why his famously wrong map was actually a work of pure genius that literally changed the course of history.
Okay, let's just get right to the elephant in the room. Take a look at Greenland on Mercator's map. It looks huge, right? Almost the same size as all of Africa. But in reality, Africa is more than 14 times bigger. That's not a tiny little error. That is a massive, epic distortion. So what on earth was he thinking?
And that's the big question, isn't it? How did a map with such a glaring, obvious flaw become the absolute standard for hundreds of years? Why was this incorrect picture of the world one of the most important scientific tools ever created? To figure that out, we have to go back in time and meet the man himself.
So before we get into the why it was so brilliant, let's just appreciate for a second what it became. Because for centuries, this wasn't just a map of the world, it was the map.
Because it was everywhere. Our collective mental image of the planet got warped. Countries up in the northern hemisphere, Europe, North America, they looked way bigger and more powerful than they actually are, while all the countries around the equator got visually squished. It had this huge subconscious effect on how we viewed the world and our place in it.
So who was this guy, the mind behind this incredibly influential map? Well, he was so much more than just a map maker. Gerardus Mercator was a true product of his time, a Renaissance man living smack in the middle of the age of discovery.
He was born in 1512 and was a brilliant scholar right from the get-go. But check out that entry for 1544. He was arrested for heresy. His scientific mind and his constant questioning were seen as dangerous. Can you imagine? He had to pack up and move to Germany just to find a place tolerant enough to let him do his work, the work that would eventually lead to his masterpiece. And this is the key to understanding everything. Mercator wasn't an artist just drawing a pretty picture of the world. He was a scientist building a tool. He had all these different skills, math, engraving, publishing, and he brought them all together for one revolutionary idea: that a map shouldn't just be decoration, it should be a precise scientific instrument you could actually use.
And that brings us to the secret. The reason for all those crazy distortions is also the reason for the map's genius. See, it was never ever meant to show accurate sizes. It was built to solve the single biggest problem for humanity in the 16th century: how to sail a ship across a massive ocean and not get completely lost.
Now to get this, you need to know one word: loxodrome. I know it sounds super complicated, but the idea is actually simple. It's just a line where your compass bearing never changes. So if you're sailing, you could just point your ship in one direction and keep it there. The problem is, on a round globe, that path is a spiral. Total nightmare for a navigator. Mercator's whole goal was to figure out how to make that spiral into a simple, straight line. And this is his ridiculously elegant solution. On his map, a sailor could literally just take a ruler, draw a straight line from, say, Portugal to Brazil, measure that one angle, and that's it. Just sail. They'd keep their compass locked on that single bearing, and they would get there. He turned terrifyingly complex navigation into a simple game of connect the dots. It was an absolute game changer.
So, you see, Mercator wasn't wrong, he was just incredibly focused. He made a deliberate choice. He sacrificed true area to perfectly preserve angles and direction. To do that, he had to stretch out the lands near the poles. He knew Greenland wasn't that big, but he also knew that for a sailor out on the open ocean, knowing the right angle to steer your ship was a matter of life and death. Knowing the exact size of Greenland, not so much.
But if you think Mercator was a one-hit wonder, you are missing half the story. His impact on how we see and understand our world goes so much deeper than just that one map. He was the very first person to call a collection of maps an atlas. But for him, it wasn't just a book of maps. It was this massive philosophical project. It was his attempt to use maps and science to describe the entire universe, from the stars in the sky to the ground beneath our feet. And his influence just keeps going. He made some of the most accurate globes of the Earth and the stars. He helped standardize how we use coordinates and scale on maps. He basically created the rulebook for modern mapmaking, pushing for it to be a serious, data-driven science. He truly laid the foundation for everything that came after. Okay, so a mapmaker from the 1500s who made a tool for sailors. Why should we care today? Well, here comes the final twist in the story, Dominus, and it connects Gerardus Mercator directly to that device you have in your pocket or on your desk right now.
First, we've got to acknowledge the criticism, which is totally valid. When the Mercator map moved out of the ship captain's cabin and into the school classroom, those distortions started to become a real problem. People rightly argued that by puffing up the size of Europe and North America, it was subconsciously promoting a skewed, Eurocentric view of the world. The right tool was just being used for the wrong job.
But, and this is the amazing part, despite all of that, Mercator's core idea is more relevant today than ever. Almost every single web mapping service, I'm talking Google Maps, Apple Maps, all of them, uses a modern version of his projection. Why? For the exact same reason the sailors loved it. It's mathematically simple. That perfect grid of right angles makes it super easy for computers to slice the world up into square tiles and let you zoom in and out smoothly.
So yeah, think about that. Every time you look up directions, every time you zoom in on your street, you are using a digital version of a system that was designed over 450 years ago to help guide wooden ships across the high seas. His obsession with practical utility found a whole new life in the digital age.
And that kind of leaves us with this final thought. What Mercator really taught us is that every map is a tool, and every tool is designed for a specific purpose. And to do its job well, it has to ignore other things. His map wasn't wrong, it was just purpose-built. So the next time you look at a map, any map, ask yourself, what was this tool really built for? And what story is it choosing to tell me?